Okay, today in the studio we have Aerobic Gymnastics All Africa champ, ex-Miss Team Commonwealth, a former KZN sprinter and a badminton player, the one and only Demi.
Hi everyone.
Okay, so before we start, we're gonna focus on Demi's journey through how she became All Africa champ for aerobic gymnastics and her struggles and her obstacles that she had to overcome to become All Africa champ. Okay, so Demi, with that being said, tell us, how did this journey begin?
I'm a true believer in a quote that a pastor once said, which is, you don't find your purpose, you walk in your purpose. So I was born with a hole in my heart, and I
Has that hole been filled?
Yes, it has been filled.
Okay.
So basically, my uncle's a minister, and they prayed over me, and God came to a lady in their prayer group in a vision, and God put up his hands like this and blew and took his hands away, and the hole closed. And I went back for a checkup, and that was going to determine whether or not I need to have a surgery or not. And it was closed. So with that being said, if I had had the operation, if I had had that surgery, I wouldn't have been able to walk upstairs. I would be out of breath. So starting from that, I believe that my purpose in life is to bring glory to God through my sport, because I wasn't supposed to be able to do it, but then I did, you know. So a lot of my journey is to do with my parents. They were athletes themselves. My dad was badminton coach, a very good badminton player, and I grew up on the side of the badminton court. When I was 5, we moved from East London to Durban because my dad got a job offer up here.
Okay.
And my mom said, this child of mine has so much energy, we need to do something. And it was just so fortunate that there was a gymnastics club, Durban North Gymnastics Club, literally walking distance from our house that we moved into. And that's where it all started. I started gymnastics when I was 5, and it's just run from there.
I promise you, I've been to Demi's house and there's a massive picture, a frame of her doing, I think it's the splits?
Yeah.
It's like a splits, and I always walk in, I'm still thinking the flexibility has been there from day one. I promise you, it hasn't changed. And she always picks on me personally because my flexibility is bad, it's really bad, okay?
Yes.
So, I want you to tell the listeners, right, the obstacles that you had to overcome, because I know that you've done a lot, how did you manage all of this here?
Sure. I suppose one of the biggest obstacles that people need to go through and really put time into is self-discipline. There were so many times that I had to sacrifice spending time with my friends, or sacrifice going to parties, or so on and so on, because I had training the next day, or had a competition coming up, or those were obstacles that a young kid really had to face and overcome.
That's usually, I would understand that it's usually for when you are trying to achieve a certain goal, and especially around people around you that are not, it's really difficult, because especially your environment plays an important role. I think you're fortunate that your parents were very athletically inclined.
Definitely.
So I think that kind of helped a little bit to a certain extent.
Definitely.
I think the listeners want to know, because as you can see, Demi is in tip-top shape. I'm going to tell you guys about her different workouts that she has to do, and her routines and her different diet that she has to follow when competition time comes about.
Okay, so I am pescatarian, which means that I eat seafood. Okay, so that's my only source of protein.
And she loves sushi, I think.
Yes, my favorite food.
Okay.
So I'm pescatarian, so I get a lot of my protein from plant-based protein, but then also from fish, obviously. When it comes to training, normally I used to be part of a gymnastics club, an aerobic gymnastics club. But then our coach moved overseas, and my mother actually took over and did all the coaches courses. So she is my coach, and she's been my coach for aerobic gymnastics since.
Do you not feel that puts a lot of pressure on you? I think to perform, maybe to.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. My mom and I, we're very close. I'm also an only child.
I put a picture of her mom and her standing together. They look identical. Like I promise you, I think just the height difference, but I think that's Demi in about 30 years time. Like
yeah.
that's it.
So my mom took over, and if it wasn't for my mom like stepping up and taking that role, I wouldn't be doing aerobic gymnastics still today.
I think just before the corona pandemic, you had All Africa champs.
Yes.
And I think last year you were All Africa champ gold medalist.
2018.
2018.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah,
So I just want to know, maybe you can tell the listeners about what goes into preparing for these big events.
Yeah. Okay, so our routine in aerobic gymnastics is 1 minute 25 seconds only. Okay. And we are judged on artistic, execution, and difficulty. And you have to have 10 elements, and those elements add up to a certain amount of points, and then the difficulty and complexity of your routine contributes to your execution, how well you do your routine, and artistic. So the higher your artistic and the better your execution, combined with your difficulty, gives you an overall score. Okay, so when it comes to training for like African champs, we start very easy, like I'm talking a quarter of the routine, or not even. We just start off with doing elements.
How often do you start? How often is the training?
We train, so we can only train at Virgin Active Gymnastics, Virgin Active Club, because we use the studio at Kings Park, and we can only use it between 7 and 9 in the evenings because we work during the day. So we'll start off by, it's every second day basically. That's Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. And then closer to the time, we'll do every single day when we're doing routine. So we'll push one day really hectic, we'll do like a full routine, and then it'll be easy the next day, and then a full routine, then easy. And that's normally about 2 weeks out of leaving for competition.
Okay. All right, so what I also want to know, and I think this is an important thing for a lot of athletes, is that when it comes to this big stage, how do you deal with your nerves? How do you, what do you do? Is there some sort of trick? Like,
oh yeah, jeez.
Or what is the routine that goes into this preparing yourself mentally? Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so basically every single training session I do the exact same warm-up, exact same stretches. I don't change anything with that. It even comes down to putting I have to put my left sock, left tacky on, then right sock, right tacky on.
If I'm not mistaken, I think from badminton, I think you fold the tip of your sock.
Yes.
What habit? How did that habit?
That's just something weird. I just don't like my ankles being covered. But I didn't really notice like the nerves until I stopped over between 18 years and 20. I stopped over those 2 years because I traveled a lot for badminton as a junior. And when I came back to competing again, I didn't know how to control my nerves. So I would literally, my first competition back, I was almost in tears because I was just so nervous and got so much anxiety. So I came back when I was 21 and I was just overwhelmed with so much nerves. But now, my nerves are just brought under control, knowing that I have done everything I possibly could have, and it all comes down to the day.
So it all comes down to the preparation. Like as the more you prepare, the more confident you feel on it.
Always, yes. And it's exactly the same every single time.
I think you can say that for any sport. The more you practice, the harder you work, the more prepared you'll feel on the day. I think that's...
Yes, always. I mean, even now this year I was in Egypt for African champs, and I was hoping to defend my title. But all my preparation was good, like everything was normal, but it was just, for some reason, it just wasn't like the best situation.
You have that feeling, you just feel like...
I was great, I was going into it, I was all ready, and then in the routine, I mean, our routines come down to 1 minute 25 seconds.
Actually,
like that's it.
That reminds me of something, and it's a quote that I've read recently, and it's something about Usain Bolt.
Yes.
And he says that training is hard, competition is easy.
Yes.
And in very simple words, and he says this here because 10 seconds is what determines his the entire year of training.
Yes.
Like that can be nerve-wracking. Like 1 minute 30 seconds determines all the preparation that you've done, which
Yes.
I think
Exactly. We train like 2 years to perfect one routine of 1 minute 25 seconds.
That's
Literally,
dedication. That's
how
real.
it progresses, because you'll try and make it better, but then also perfect it and polish it.
I also
as you
know
go.
you're a little bit of a perfectionist. I know you like things
Yes,
you're very fussy. I notice you.
Yeah, everything was great, and I felt good. I walked onto the floor and I was ready. And then it was just a weird experience where I just had an out-of-body experience, and I don't know how to explain it, but it was almost like I was doing my routine next to myself, watching myself do it. And I was very much aware of everything going on around than myself. Like, it was just a strange thing. But in saying that, it was still, like, it wasn't my best performance, but I fell short of the girl that came first by 0.3, which is
So the big question is, are you going back? Are you competing? Do you want to compete?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so this, I believe it, that you know what, there's always a second shot. You know, gold title is always still there, and I think this is really incredible. I think you've inspired, I think, a lot of people who are athletes, especially at a younger age. So I want to ask you like a very simple question. What advice can you give the young athletes coming up, or even the people that want to do aerobic gymnastics and compete at that level? What advice can you give them?
So my advice is to decide that if you want to do this and you want to make it work for you and you want to go all the way, then you need to accept the fact that there's going to be a lot of sacrifice involved, a lot of discipline, and it's never going to go as well as what you want it to until it does. So you've just got to keep fighting through all the bad days to get that one fantastic day.
Okay, so with that being said, I want to ask you, right? So aerobic gymnastics, that's just your sporting ambitions, I know. But I know that you've started your own practice on sports massage. You currently have a new endeavor that you are doing. Tell us about that a little bit. Like, what is that? What's happening there?
Yes. Okay. So I've always wanted to be involved in athletes' journeys to achieving their goals and dreams and aspirations. And originally I wanted to be a physiotherapist.
Okay.
But I couldn't afford it at first. And then when I was going to get a scholarship, the problem is that my matric certificate is an American syllabus, and like the universities wouldn't accept it. So I thought, okay, well, next best thing is sports massage, best, So I'm just so grateful that I took that journey, because it's kind of set me up.
I'm sensing a tone here where, not a never say die kind of attitude, like where if things are not working out, it's literally the make it happen mindset. Like, what can I do? How can I get to where I want to be? And what can I do? I think that's incredible, especially with this year.
It was the best foot up into the next stage or chapter of my journey or my story. In September in 2019, I did a little mini interview. I treated the Sharks massage therapist, and he then got me into treating the Sharks Super Rugby team, it's incredible. I've learned so much in the first 3 sessions of working there. It's been amazing. So started treating the Sharks in February 2019, been treating them through, and then last year, November, I moved to my own space entirely, and it's just been the best thing ever. And then recently now, my friend who's an ex-Commonwealth gymnast, Claudia Cummins, we've partnered up. She's a biokineticist and I'm a sports massage therapist. And we've decided to partner up and create cool content and to show people and also athletes how it's important to focus on recovery. So coming to me and releasing the muscles that are an issue, and then going to Claudia and strengthening the muscles that are an issue on that side. Because you can't strengthen a muscle if it's tight on the other side. It just doesn't work. So yeah, that's basically
okay, that's fantastic. I think I'm actually gonna put it in the link at the bottom. I think I'll tag you. Maybe people can check it out. They can see exactly what you do. Before you leave, so before you leave, I want to give you officially, you are part of the Make It Happen family.
Yay!
Okay, so
thank
your
you
Make It
so
Happen
much,
shirt. We're gonna take some pics, and with that being said, Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to smash that like button and let me know in the comment section what you think of this video, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys, take care, and don't forget, fist to heart, make it happen.